and I want to see what's in your wallet. So she put her purses, and I'm like, okay. Evidently, she had a mind to work. Then I know I forgot to brush my hair this morning, so that was that. But I'm still asking, what's in your wallet? So evidently, she loves me because she bought a heart. A personal heart, at that. And I know she's something else because she's always prepared. Well, I'm not going to ask what's in your wallet no more. Then I'm going to the purse that she carried today. That's my wallet. If we think about the burdens we have, based on what we carry, based on the duties that have been afforded us as Christians, we would understand why Jesus gave Judas the purse. If you would join me in Matthew 27. Matthew 27. You don't have to stand. Join Matthew 27. We're going to do the 3rd through the 10th verse. Then we're going to ask the question this morning. What price is glory? If we think about Judas, and we know he's famous, and the question had come up some years ago, heard the preacher ask, why is it nobody has named their child Judas? Is it because of what he represents? Or is it because his decisions cause things to change for the world? Then I'll ask you this question. Was the thing that Judas did worse than what Saul did before he became Paul? If we could ponder and think, well, Saul killed thousands and hundreds, and Judas just betrayed one. But that one, Saul still killed his children. What price is glory when we make decisions to do certain things to other folk because we are so religious? Because we make decisions based on how we feel and not how the outcome should be. We try to move and make things happen the way we think it's going to happen. But then there is God. He already has a plan in place. He already knows what's happening. What price is glory? So let's walk back over Judas. Judas was chosen. He could have walked away. But everybody knew his background. And Jesus still gave him the purse. Scripture said that Judas was a thief, but he carried the purse. The 11 apostles knew that Judas was a thief, and they still let him carry. 3.5 years went by. Judas is with Jesus, and his heart wasn't changed, but he still carried the purse. Acts 1, the apostles are getting ready to walk into Pentecost. And then one stands up and says, well, we need to fill the gap caused by Judas because he had the purse and he bought himself a parcel of land with the Lord's money. It's something that the scripture shows us in little things. Because everybody, we've all gone through Acts, but we never noticed that they knew what Judas was doing. Judas had been with Jesus as he calmed the storm. Judas had been with Jesus as he healed the sick, made people walk, gave the blind new eyes, healed 10 lepers and seen one only come back. But Judas was there and never made the decision to accept the change that was in front of him. But he still carried the purse. if we think about the wallet and what it represents, we put stuff in our wallets and purses and forget that we have those things there. Have you ever had an opportunity, you go through your wallet and purse and say, man, I just found $20.
Yeah. All right now.
When did I put that in there? But as soon as we asked that question, we had spent that money. So what good was the $20? We think about Judas having made decision to lock up with certain Pharisees who felt that they were better than the change that was walking in 3 years. All of them had gone to school with Jesus. They knew who he was. But when the transition of his life started, when his glory started to come to fruition, him walking into houses with thousands of people outside just to hear a word, just to be healed. Those who were ostracized outside of the community, when Jesus walked out, they were able to walk in. What price was the glory that Judas saw? A piece of land, 30 pieces of silver. Put this into your brain. 30 pieces of silver was the cost of a beast of burden. 30 pieces of silver was the cost of a slave being sold to a master. 30 pieces of silver to Judas was a piece of dirt. So in his mind, Jesus was no better than a piece of land that he bought. But then we look at ourselves and how many times we have been stepped on, lied to, backstabbed, cheated, wronged, asked to do something when we knew that it wasn't for us, but it was to benefit somebody else. And then when we did that thing hurt that person. What price is glory when we don't know or not even accept the consequences of our actions? Here we are in the 3rd to the 10th chapter. We see Judas has watched Jesus go from house to house, from Pharisee house to Pharisee house, being judged. A lot of preachers say that he went from temple to temple being judged, but that's not the case. We were days before the Passover. Pharisees and priests couldn't judge anybody at that time because they take on the sin burden, and they couldn't participate in the Passover. So they brought him to the house, to another house, to another house, to another house. And they lied, and they lied, and they lied, and they lied. And Jesus didn't say anything while his children planned to kill him. Scripture says that Judas, 3rd verse, was there. He was there when they lied on Jesus. He was there with the money in his pocket, selling him out for a piece of land, to build a house, for a little bit of glory. Yeah, we can stab somebody in the back. We can destroy them. We can deconstruct their testimony. But that joy we get out of hurting somebody does not last no longer than that day, than that moment, than the repeat of how sorry we were for making decisions to hurt somebody else. Scripture says Judas repented. Judas repented and went back to his crew. Not the right crew, but the wrong crew. Y'all made me do this. Y'all made me put him up. Y'all made me do something that wasn't in my character. Y'all made me kill innocent blood. How much is it worth if somebody we love, we sell them out for 30 pieces of silver? What's the cost of love of yourself if you destroy another person? How can Judas feel good about himself? Here he is standing in front of the people who gave him cause to do what was already in him, to sell out the Lord for 30 pieces of silver. What is it worth? What is it worth to call Jesus on the same level as a dead piece of cattle. What is it worth for Judas to have called him out as a slave and give up 30 pieces of silver? How could he live with himself and stand in front of the people who have caused him to make wrong decisions, but he was still in charge of his decisions? It's something when people will choose money over human life.
All right.
If we look at the history of our country, companies will choose profits over people.
That's right.
Our own government will choose profits over the soldiers who have fought wars, who have come back lame and hurt and blind, and cut the benefits from their mental health and their physical health, all to keep a dollar. Amen. What is the price of glory if America calls itself a Christian nation and the people within those borders are not acting as Christians? We decide to live in barriers and set ourselves apart based on pigmentation. Then step over that. We set ourselves apart based on where we live, how much, what job we work, what school we went to, as if that makes us better because we have letters behind our last name. What price glory is it when my neighbor can't eat the next night?
Come on.
What price is glory when the person down the street has asked us for help and we roll by? What price glory is when we ride up to the store and the person asks us for 50 cents? All we can say is you need to get a job. But what you need to understand, when that person gets up in the morning, that's their job. To hustle for a whole day. To beg. You don't know what's happening at their house. You don't know what caused them to be outside. What price is your glory that you can walk over them? People ask you, how you doing today? You say, I'm doing good. I'm doing fine. One guy told me I'm doing better than I should be because of the glory of God. Amen. That messed up my whole day because I have never ran into somebody who would give God glory early in the morning at work based on the circumstances that he just come through. I didn't realize old boy had just had 30 chemo treatments and just came back to work 3 months before. Amen. Better than I should be. We're sitting here because we're better because of, not based on how we woke up, not based on if we put the foundation on right, if we got the right lipstick color, or if we combed our hair so the waves pop out. We are here based on his love. Amen. So here's Judas. Threw the money down, ran out, had an opportunity to get to Jesus. It's always there when we make wrong choices. We always have that opportunity to stop before we follow through and ask God to guide our footsteps. We always have that opportunity to take a breath, count to 3 before we open our mouths to hurt somebody else. We always have that opportunity to hang that phone up and not make that call just because you want to cuss somebody out to make yourself feel better. What price of the glory if that thing you want to text doesn't help them be better in their life? What is the price? What is the cost? That if we give up on somebody, it won't return back to us. Some people say karma happens. Y'all thought I was going to say something. that wasn't coming out. When we were growing up and we would eat at the table and we asked for some more and you know you full and your big mama say your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Here we are with Jesus, Judas, his eyes were bigger than his stomach. He thought he could consume these 30 pieces of silver and live a good life. But in the middle of his consumption, he saw the results of his action. He saw Jesus being dragged from place to place and being beat for things that he didn't do. But it was because of Judas's wrong decisions.
Preach today.
How many of us could have walked with Jesus and seen the things he had done and still made that decision to give up for 30 pieces of silver? How could we do that? How could we see Jesus walk to a grave and say, Lazarus, come out, and still want to dig into the purse and buy us our own piece of land? How many of us could have that mindset of Judas, knowing you getting ready not just to backstab Jesus, but the 11 brothers that's in the room with you? How important is the money that you will give up everybody that you've been closely knitted with, walking hundreds of miles, dealing with people you knew you shouldn't dealt with, going across borders because Jesus said, let's go to Samaria, going by Roman guards and not being killed because Jesus said, let me heal your servant. You see all that? How many of us can be in that place to make that decision that our glory should rise higher than the Lord's? It's three. Well, Judas didn't have the money based on scripture more than 24 hours. Do you think he had joy when he first put it in the purse? And he shook that purse? Felt that weight of that silver? Walked into the room, sat on side of the Lord, ate bread, drank wine, and then listened to Jesus say, get up and go do what you're going to do. And you still don't do it. There's a lot of us who have done things and the Lord has pulled our souls and we still went out and what price is the glory? Think about times I snuck out the house, took the car. I'm 12 years old. I took my mama's car, went to the projects to play in a domino tournament. I'm not going to tell you about the whipping, but I'm telling you, I felt glorified because I was whipping some heads till she rolled up in somebody else's car. But I knew it was wrong at 12 years old to be behind the wheel of a car. I knew it was wrong to take the keys out of her purse and slide her purse back up under her bed. I knew it was wrong to push the car into the street without starting the engine because I didn't want to wake her up. I knew all that. But I told you I wasn't perfect. But some decisions have greater consequences. I could have gotten wrecked. I could have killed somebody. I could have gotten stopped by the cops and ended up in foster care. The consequences. But then somebody who knew my mama saw me park her car and go to the domino tournament. No, we wasn't playing for no money. I was just wanting to be the best domino player around the projects. We didn't even live in the projects. I just wanted to be with that crew. But then here comes Judas. Making decisions based on how he felt. Based on what he wanted to put into his stomach. Regardless of the consequences, if we turn Jesus and the 11 over to the Romans, they wasn't going to come after him. But let's take a step back. Now, if Judas turned all them in, who wouldn't say the Pharisees wouldn't turn him in?
Amen.
If we look at the scripture, when the Pharisees say, well, what are we going to do with this money? Oh, don't touch it because it's blood money. Then I took a step back. I say, this was not the first time they had somebody killed. But you are leaders in the church killing God's children before they are blessed. What price is the glory? Is it the nice robes? Is it to walk through the congregation and everybody look at you and say, hey, how you doing? Can you shake my hand and bless me? And the whole time you scheming and conniving on widows and children and lying to God in the temple by giving long, exuberant prayers. In the scripture that Jesus said the Pharisees stood there and gave long, exuberant prayers that meant nothing. They even exampled one who was standing on the side of a man who was hurt and told God, don't even look at him. Listen to me. What price is the glory? For all the things that we have sold out, for all the things that we have given over, for all the people we have walked away, not because they did us wrong, but because there was a change happening in their life that we felt should have been in our lives. But since we couldn't get that change, we had to destroy them. How long did that glory last? I say this on the first Sunday of the last month of the year. We can't go out the same way.
Amen.
From this day, from this hour, make your mind set on 2019 to get 3 people you know saved.
Amen.
To get 3 people you know who aren't active in church. 3 people who you know who don't have a relationship with Christ. Bring them to the table and let them know what's in your wallet. The doors of the church are open.
Amen.
If